Hi there, water signs, and welcome. Let's do February 2021. What do you say? I want to start with a question card called the Inquiry Deck to see what the main question coming through is for water signs for the month of February. Thank you for joining me, and hope you like what you see. Hope it works for you. Okay, here we go. And there it is. What is evolving? Nice question, huh? Have you been asking yourself that? How was it, by the way, how was your January of the new year? Did you have an opportunity to try out your resolutions a bit? Well, whatever you had set as intentions or whatever for yourself, it's always nice to do a check-in. And what is evolving is a nice check-in. Because it might not be what you thought initially. So we're going to do the yang line first. For water signs this month, what kind of energy is swirling about in the atmosphere? Certainly, the celestial events are pretty profound. I always like it when something comes down the line that in the cosmos, in the solar system, a configuration that hasn't been seen for many, many years. And last time it was seen, big things happened on planet Earth. I was like those. And that's kind of some of the energy that's come down and is coming down, is existing and flourishing, if you will, radiating right now. What's evolving, yang? I want to take a walk in the park to go through the gates into the territory of royalty. So yang, here's a guy who, even though he knows it's going to be new territory and knows that the world, he's not accustomed to the world where he's going to be the new kid on the block. In the royalty mode of Wands inspiration, he's certain that that's where he wants to go. It's interesting how he's holding the wand too. The trunk of the tree, the branch. Upside down, is it? Is it a branch from his family tree that he's taken with him into his new territory? Whatever it is, looks like he thinks about it from the standpoint of it's not just an earthly endeavor, although he's highly interested in the earthly aspects of the new endeavor. And yet, there's some sense in his intuition that there's an opportunity for evolution within this for him. And that's why he's walking in with eyes wide open, looking at where he's going. There's nothing hidden here. So Yang, is there something that's been waiting in the wings that you've been waiting yourself, that you've been dragging your feet a little bit on taking the step, moving in the direction of, let's say, your dreams, moving in the direction of what your intuition is telling you that is the right way to go for the moment? And did I not just get done saying that he has the idea that evolution is at play? So what is evolving is his territory. That's what he's all interested about. It's almost looking like taking that step and making that move is what creates the evolution. It creates the opportunity for the trumpet to blow and for something to come out that has been waiting to come out for a long time in terms of a new birth mode, a new life, a new awareness, let's say. And I think also he's looking way over here for his Queen of Cups. But if it's a love interest that he's looking for, then certainly he's looking at her. But I think if he's going to walk into, he's been around for a while, so he got the opportunity to take the decision to go higher, to go into the court, the royal court. And starting at the bottom of the ladder in the royal court is to be a page. But it's still a higher endeavor. So if that's true, and I'm going to stay with the intuition I'm having, that he knows where he's going, and he is taking everything in about where he's going, that he's not only seeing the Queen of Cups, but he's also seeing the cup that she's got. And I think there's a bit of curiosity, anticipation, excitement about finding out what's in that cup. So it's a win-win, basically. If it's the woman of his dreams, let's say, that's just a way to put it. It's a form of speech. If it is the woman of his dreams, let's say, as a love interest, sure, that's fine. That's win. The other part that is to be won here, however, is the cup, which is sealed with a lid, contains within it, who's to say, everything? The whole 9 yards, the whole enchilada, all about love, all about what it's going to take to continue on his journey. Because when he's done here, he's not done. Okay. So Yang, they're done. Even though, if love is on your mind, then, or if emotional wherewithal is on your mind, it's a good time to look at the idea that you are in motion. You're in motion. You're walking forward. But is it kind of like learning a skill? Is it like getting a new job? Perhaps. But the sense here is that it's more an internal evolving. So, fine. Take the moment to do it and do it well and be amazed at the results. Because I think the results that are available are amazing. It's not like when he looks over here, he just sees the girl next door, so to speak. It's that he sees the embodiment of nurturing, of emotional wherewithal, emotional intelligence. It's big. And there's another factor to consider. Remember, Queen of Cups is carrying a sword. Why? Cutting to the chase, being willing to call what you see, to say it out loud. No denial. No avoidance. See what Yin has got to offer. Okay. Well, stability for sure. Wow. If you guys are a couple, you're kind of going the same direction. But not just going in the same direction along the path and walking along. Conceptually, you're going the same direction. You're on the same page. So Yin, just you by yourself. The Phoenix is sitting in the middle of your world. Not coming out of the flames quite at the moment, but certainly prepared to do so should the need arise. That's got to feel good. When you know as you walk along and things seem to be just fine, you know that what's in the background is the ability and awareness of rising from the ashes. That even if things do go up in flames in a given moment, that before you know it, they turn around and the Phoenix rises. And we begin again. We begin perhaps where we left off if we keep our wits about us. Yes? But you're starting off from a stable position. And that's allowing you to visit the death card, the nameless card. And what's excellent about in the Marseilles deck with the death card is that there's a synchronicity, a continuity between death and the Fool. So, and what I mean by that is that if the way they're depicted, the way this skeleton is depicted, is cookie cutter, place it right over the Fool card in the same deck, and you see the figure only with skin and clothing. The same figure in the same pose. Now, this is a skeleton. Before, it was the Fool person with skin, with muscles, with clothing. Now we're taken down to bones and no clothing. Everything's been ripped away. And all these components here, they are also parts of what is being ripped away. And when it's ripped away, it ain't going with you. When you move forward, it's staying behind. You don't need it anymore. And you are leaving it open for growing a new skin, growing new muscles, and getting new clothes. That comes from this level of stability. So if you're feeling in an area, let's say that you're feeling stable, that's probably the area to look at as the part that's evolving. And if you highlight that, okay, if you're able to isolate within yourself the place where you're feeling stability in your life, highlight that, then look at what about it can be left behind. What about it wants to be left behind? What about it is coming off as, when I really look at it, I don't need that. I had a professor in college that I and other students would take things that we wrote that were these descriptions, it's kind of a land law legal class. So it was legal descriptions, describing land, describing someone's boundaries. And when I took my paper up one day to the professor so he could take a look at what I'd written, he pointed out a line. He said, "What will happen to the overall description if you remove that line?" So I gazed at it for a minute and I looked and I said to him, "Nothing." So and then he said, "Then why do you have it in there?" And as we look at the death card, we're kind of at that same juncture. If we choose to look inside, we can look and find out in our lives what does it change if you were to remove that whatever from your life. And if your answer is nothing, or it would change things for the better, the obvious question is, why would you go forward with what is encumbering you? Why would you carry this excess whatever 1 minute longer in your existence here on earth? And look at the intensity with which this skeleton is looking at the Ace of Wands. We have an Ace of Wands here. We have the Ace of Wands here too. That's why I said you guys are on the same page. If you're a team, this yin-yang compilation here. But back to you, Yin. Look at the intensity. And I say that intensity is because that's where the next step is. You're evolving into a new potential beginning. Look at the size of that wand. That contains everything. It contains all the potential to be able to achieve whatever you want. And maybe that follows nicely if you take these two. maybe that follows nicely along with where you focused on at the beginning, which was some part of you internally that's already stable. Maybe that stability factor wants to go for the gold. Out of that, what if the phoenix rises from that stable situation, then it has nowhere to go but to a higher realm, if you might say. Let's do the blended. And these blended cards will be like an overriding principle for the whole kit and caboodle of the other cards that are here. And out of our 4, our first one is going to be 13. Our second one is going to be 1. Our third one is going to be 4. And our fourth one is going to be 8. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What is the situation that is over all here? It's the moon. Why am I not surprised? I did mention when we were up here about this seeming like it was going to be somewhat internal, the effort to make things manifest in the outer world would be an internal exercise. And so here we are, the quintessential internal exercise. It's nice though, because Cancer, right? The water mother, earth mother, water sign. So there's a nurturing quality that I like about this, because at times when we go inside, it can feel isolated and lonely. And it's always nice to know that not only does the inner world take us away from other things, it also represents a certain type of being embraced by the endeavor itself, being embraced by that sojourn through the inner world that allows old business to percolate up to the surface, allows you to look at it and review it and contemplate it a little. But keep in mind that there's also a path here, that it's not like a static circumstance. The sojourn is a journey. The sojourn into that world is a journey. That's what we've been talking about up here. Taking a journey that from the outer standpoint, from the external, it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but in fact, you're on a high level journey, evolved. So what obstacle might you encounter during this journey? You might encounter the Empress. who gives another nurturing and a source of creativity factor to the game, to the march forward itself. But why an obstacle? What came to me and felt like it matters here is to remember her dynamic with the emperor. So she's Earth. She is like the quintessential embodiment of creativity. But that's it. So, I mean, her creative juices flow, but they don't really get molded and shaped like the clay into some kind of a sculpture until she joins with the emperor, because the emperor contains that complementary energy that takes her creativity, which is abundant, and has his abundance of oversight and viewpoint on the workings of the physical world, and weaves it in. He doesn't operate alone either. I mean, if there was ever a team in the major arcana, it's the emperor and empress. And they do not really hit their highest stride unless they're together. But the factor here is what we focus on. Just if the empress is an obstacle, it's in the position of being an obstacle, I think it's just a signpost that's saying, don't take the empress's creativity and nurturing ability as the be-all and end-all. Remember, there's another component to make it whole. So, don't get tripped up. When you go on your journey, you're getting a lot of support, a lot of I got your back energy. Don't let that trip you up into just becoming limp and thinking you're going to be carried along by the current. When in fact, you have to stride, you have to take the steps forward. What is evolving will not evolve unless you do your part. And what do you have on this journey that will be really your strength and really your really your asset? I can't help it. I'm sorry. I mean, we were just talking about this, and you can't make this stuff up. Well, so much for the just taking the empress as a signpost only, because her partner, her twin flame is here. The emperor's here too, in the asset. And the only thing that may want to be said here is that consider the divine masculine portion of the whole dynamic of the emperor and empress to be at the forefront, to be the, leading the charge, if you will. And the emperor certainly is capable of doing it. And you shouldn't have too much problem getting to see him show himself, the divine masculine energy, because Mars is there. And Mars, all about boom, take the lead, charge kind of thing, right? This is so complete. Obstacle, asset, balance, right? There's one thing that is sticking out of me is that that's the highlight of this reading, is the balance. And maybe it is your balance. If you're a team, maybe it is your balance that's evolving. And then, what is the potential outcome and what actions do you need to take? The Chariot. So you're coming from a passive foundation in the moon card, but your outcome is anything but passive. And we were just talking about maybe your balance is evolving. Well, how about the fact that the sphinxes here have to be balanced in their motion and their direction, their movement and where they move, in order for the chariot to go straight, in order for it to get anywhere. The sphinxes have to be going the same direction. So a big thing that came to me when I first turned this card over is that two things. One, your bliss, if you will, lies on the other side of taking action. Up here in the yang, the taking action is to walk into your new self, to embody your new self that's been only in your visualization so far. Make the physical move. In the inline, the action is to make the choices, to cut to the chase with things that, in a touchy-feely world, a lot of times we live in one that tries to be, we cannot lose the fact that sometimes it's appropriate and necessary to cut to the chase. And in this case, nothing is going to get you where you want to be like cutting to the chase. So, action. Let's do a few clarifiers. I'm going to start with the death card in the yin. Knight of Cups. Five of Wands. Nine of Swords. Knight of Cups. Five of Wands. Nine of Swords. Okay. So, it ain't going to be easy. Yin. Your saving grace here, though, is the Knight is there standing, and the Knight of Cups, the emissary. Count on him. Count on the fact that there is a kingly / knightly figure that's hovering in the background, continuously offering you a cup, continuously offering you the opportunity to see things through the eyes of love, through the eyes of caring, through the eyes of benevolence, gentle behavior, etc. Because you got this will be an initiation for you to take this step with the death card. And you could experience some angst because of it. But remember, the Nine of Swords can be a drama queen moment. Don't be a drama queen about this, because there is no drama. And how do you do that? You stay out of that realm that wants to sensationalize the moment. You stay with what you know what you know. And you also know that by being at the Nine of Swords, you are absolutely ready to go to completion with this. Now, remember, it's going to be tough. There's no getting around that. But you can do it. You should do it. I mean, if you are interested in either personal evolution or evolution with another, whoever your other is, then you should do this. This is for you. This whole line and everything that it means, it's not for somebody else, Yin. It's for you. And what will happen if and when you go through it? You will come out strong, evolved, enhanced. It's all good. I would like to see if the cards have anything to say about the Judgment card in the Yang line. Six of Wands. Tower. Five of Cups. So Yang seems to be getting challenged by the emotional aspect of things. Yin is getting challenged by the intellectual and probably the fiery part of it. Maybe Yin is a bit too much into the stability factor that is able to be felt through this card, through the Four of Pentacles, but not necessarily good for you. Moving off the dime is what needs to happen. So, Yang with awareness, a new type. So Yang, you got a lot of Mars here, a lot of fire. That's probably not your best choice to take. If you get caught up in the fire and you get caught up in a tower moment, I mean, we all get tower moments. They vary in intensity and frequency, but we get them. So, is this a bump in the road? Is this a bump in the road? I don't think so. But the clarifiers are saying, don't make it one. You may be setting yourself at a disadvantage by how you place yourself in the process. In other words, you jump too much into your fire and into your forward momentum trying to get to the Queen of Cups, and it's liable to trip you up. Last but not least, one vice versa card for each of the blended energy cards. Okay, so if you're going to go into your moon inner self, then take with you your I've been around the block part. That is your own personal page of swords. So that you maintain clear vision, an accurate, truth-bearing viewpoint, a regard and honoring of your thinking process. Take that with you. It will serve you well. So the Empress in the obstacle, maybe this is how she could be an obstacle. This wounded warrior that's in this picture is a distortion in a way. It's distorted energy if it's looked at the wrong way. I mean, you can get subsumed and overwhelmed by, oh, I'm a wounded warrior. And what does it serve you? I mean, what does that become for you? Nothing, nothing, nothing. It's like your out here mask that you're wearing, that you show to everyone, but it's not really you, right? So it's a matter of divide and conquer, dividing out the positive aspects and discarding the ones that do not serve you. That's the question you want to ask as you contemplate this. Does this serve me? In what way? In a nurturing way, in a creative way. So this dude right here can be an instigator and a catalyst for you to get fiery or you to get energetic about how you plunge through the obstacle portion of the Queen or the Empress. And then with your asset, you're getting a nod. And vice versa, there's a front and a back. If you're in the back, which you are in this case, you're in the frame. You've been there and you've done that. And that's who you are. It's part of the weaving of your soul now, right? So what a nice thing to take along when you occupy your emperor mode. You take the king of all the kings, and he sits high. He sits in a completely powerful position. And this Hierophant reminds you to stay connected to the divine, to remember the spiritual aspect of everything that you do. And last but not least, taking the action brings you earthbound, physical reality, material world leadership. So, there's very little more that needs to be said about that, although it's not something you have a lot of experience with yet. Here's your chance. Take the experience to make the move and move out into some territory that is out of your comfort zone for a change and reap the rewards. Walk into a place where you can sit on the throne of your own choices and be the leader of yourself first, and then others if that's in the deck, in the cards for you. Thank you. February 2021 looks incredible for you guys. Very happy for you. And yet, I want to encourage you. I want to say that there is some tough moments to be faced. Face them down. Take them home. Do it well. Thanks again. See ya. Love y'all.